Namaskar and very good evening. Today is our last class. Okay. Without further ado, I will begin the session. Okay, I shall begin the session by paying my obeisance to my Gurudeva, founder of Ananda Marga, Sri Ananda Murthy, who is the force and inspiration behind this Astaunga Yoga course. Okay, so maybe since this is the last class, I'd like to remind again this is the initiative of the Ananda Marga Yoga Society of Kuala Lumpur. Okay, throughout this year we have conducted several sessions through the Zoom platform. Sorry for the glitching. So this is the outline of today's presentation. Begin the introduction. Today's topic is Dhyana and Samadhi, the 7th and 8th day of Astaunga Yoga. And Niyama Sadhana will cover Tapa, Swadhyaya, and Ishvara Pradipam. And there will be a summary of this course and also way forward. So, as usual, okay, the entire course and the practice of yoga, the context of this course is centered in the definition of yoga. Some yoga ityukto jivatma paramatma, which means the unification of the unit soul, jivatma, the universal soul, or paramatma is yoga. Okay, and all the effort through the first up to the 8th limb of yoga is meant to achieve this union. Okay, and by now you might be familiar with this diagram. Now about jivatma. Okay, it is centered. What do you call? When we define yoga, so we always mention jivatma and paramatma. Okay, so to understand what is Atman or the unit consciousness or the supreme consciousness, so you don't have to study paramatma. You study yourself. You are the jivatman. So to know the Atman, so you have to transcend. You have to transcend the body, to transcend the chitta. The chitta is the objective mind, and in chitta itself there are 5 layers. You transcend the 5 layers, then you will arrive at your I, or aham consciousness, I do consciousness, then mahat or I am consciousness. And you have to transcend that further to know the Atman. This is the model of yoga. Okay, so we will revisit this concept of Panchakosha. Okay? For your information, you will come, some people like the student of Vedanta, they will come across this concept of Panchakosha in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Okay? There are 10 principal Upanishads. Okay? And in Taittiriya Upanishad, they will speak about this concept of Panchakosha. But there will be some slight variation with what I am sharing here. So our Guru explained the concept of Panchakosha, and there's some slight, maybe some slight difference, where he explained some, he adds some additional kosha. It's not in the Taittiriya Upanishad. And Panchakosha of yoga is synchronized with the 8 limbs of yoga. Okay, so this is the word of Sri Ananda Murthy. He said, only dhyana, samadhi, gives access to the soul. Okay, so pious persons are those who are earnest in the effort to perfect the Panchakosha. So human existence consists of the 5 koshas, and spiritual practice is 8-fold. spiritual practice is dharma, that which does not provide for the explanation of the Panchakosha is not dharma but sakti. He further adds that the purpose of dharma is to attain perfect happiness, and perfect happiness is the attainment of the soul. There being only partial happiness in each kosha. So long as the soul is not attained, every kosha has to be perfected. So to elaborate this, our existence, okay, your current existence, so at any moment, some koshas will be done. So at least the lowest two koshas will be done. Your kamamaya or conscious mind and subconscious body, manomaya kosha. These two koshas will be active, and the other three, it's not that it is inactive. These supramental, subliminal, and subtle causal. These three are collectively known as causal mind or unconscious. These three appears to be dormant because you are operating at a lower level. Why you are operating at a lower level is because your samskara dominates. Okay? Remember the coffee example? When the experience of coffee became ingrained in you in your chitta. Okay? The very awareness of coffee will attract you towards coffee. Just an example. So it's not, if you look at your unconscious mind, it's not just coffee, for example. No, there are millions and millions of samskara, okay, in the form of archetype. And in truth, you are naturally being dragged to do a lot of things without your own will. It means you are not in control of your life because samskara drags you to do things. Okay? And everyone, they will follow this sort of pattern in life. And someone who aspires to become a yogi, the person who begins to gain control over his own life. Okay, so that involves personality reorientation. So to do personality reorientation, you have to understand your own samskara, the pattern of thoughts in your unconscious. You have to modify. I mean, you can't modify it; it's not easy. You have to plant a stronger samskara. Okay? So that is the approach of yoga. No? The approach of some other schools, so they don't do that. They say observe the mind or be a witness. For example, Ramana Maharishi. Okay, but that sort of method is only suitable for someone who's very sattvic, like Ramana Maharishi himself. Remember the concept of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Okay? The four purusharthas. Okay, so if you compare yourself with Ramana Maharishi was someone like him. So Ramana Maharishi has very little samskara on kama or physical survival and artha, okay, or progress, worldly progress. Okay, he has more samskara in dharma and moksha, more towards moksha. That's why he's not interested in dressing up nicely. So he was actually studying in college. He left his college education. Okay, I'm not saying here is that that pursue the path of enlightenment, the path towards enlightenment, you have to abandon your studies, work, and all that. It happens to persons like him because you don't have much things to do. Okay, most of us, we have a lot of business to do. I understand. Okay, so you have a family, you have a job. If you're a student, you have to accomplish your studies. But we have to make adjustment. So yoga is a suitable path for everyone because it allows you to make adjustment with your normal life. Your normal life and pursue the path of it. Okay. So when we start this, okay, I'm showing this to show about Panchakosa. Because this is one of the most important concepts that you have to understand. Okay, so each kosha, okay, I'm referring to what Guru Deva mentioned earlier, that each kosha has to be perfected. So you have to. So if you are at the body, so you don't operate at the body level only. Because very lower form of life, like amoeba, example, most animals, so they operate only at the level of Annamaya Kosha, and the Kamamaya Kosha will be partially active. Only Kamamaya Kosha, these two will work together. Okay? But human being, Okay. Your Manomaya kosha is very active. Okay. That's why you think. That's why you have a developed intellect. Okay, and you have potential to develop all these higher koshas. Whereas an animal, even a very developed animal like ape, chimpanzee, so naturally they don't have the potential to develop this kosha. Maybe in future. Maybe in future, when apes become more evolved, maybe the possibility is there. So Master mentioned that. Yeah, there is this possibility. But currently, only human beings they have this potential to develop this higher kosha. And when you are each time you are embodied as human being, okay? Take my word, embodied as human being, so you will have this potential. Okay, when you don't have a human form, because you'll be struggling with your with survival only. Okay. So as I mentioned, discuss video. You will see the next. So our master add further that the entire universe has the grace of Brahma, okay, for the supreme consciousness. But human beings enjoy greater grace. They are endowed with the privilege of practicing sadhana. It is a special grace of Brahma to appear as Sadguru and teach spiritual practice. Okay. There's a saying in Ananda Sutra, Master said, and even it is echoed in many sastras, Tantra sastras, and even other sastras, that Brahma is the only Guru. Brahmaiva eka napara. Brahmaiva guru eka napara. Okay? It means Brahma is the only Guru, okay? And not others. No? So Brahma is the Guru. And that Brahma can appear to you. So when he appeared in the full form, he's the Sadguru. Okay? So whenever Brahma used the medium of a fully enlightened being, okay? According to Shastra, a fully enlightened being is also known as Brahma Koti. Okay? In the Shastras, it is mentioned that the full expression of consciousness happens in the form of Brahma Koti. Okay? So they use some sort of yardstick, there's a parameter. So they call this kala. There are 16 kala. So this is through the concept of kala. So using this method of measurement, they explain the level of consciousness. For example, inanimate thing only possess one kala. Okay? Most fruit matter, which appears to be like a rock, for example, or a piece of wood, has one kala. A more developed life form, for example, a plant, has two kala. And more than that, for example, animals, okay? I mean, animals, certain categories have three colors, and something more evolved possess four colors. Human beings generally they possess five colors, and more developed human beings, more intellectual, more intelligent human beings, they possess six colors. Someone who's more saintly, more spiritually evolved, okay, who's known as saint, possess seven and maximum to eight color. Then beyond eight color, 9, 10, and all that. So the categories of Amshavadar, Kandavadar, and when they possess 16 over 16, they are known as Brahmakoti. In this Brahmakoti is known as Sadguru. It is just for understanding. And then so most spiritual, highly spiritually evolved beings, they have more than 10 color, 9, 10, 11. They have various capacities. They can do a lot of things. Okay. So this is the chart on the Panchakosha development. So we have seen all the various practices. Okay. So developing this Panchakosha is essential. Okay. So your evolution is measured through through these koshas. How much have you developed this kosha? How much have you transcended? Okay, so there are natural means of development and development through yoga, which I have explained in the previous class. Today we will see dhyana. Okay, dhyana will develop in the past few weeks. We have seen pratyahara, dharana. The last week we saw dharana. Dhyana. So dhyana is defined by Yoga Sutra. Tatra pratyatya katanata dhyanam. Means yoga. This is appeared in Yoga Sutra 3.2. Dhyana means the unbroken flow of mind towards the supreme goal. So dhyana is meditation on the supreme entity, so that there is an incessant upward movement of the mind towards Paramatma. Okay. The previous week, okay, when we discussed about pratyahara. So pratyahara means to withdraw. The mind is like a momentum. So we withdraw the mind, which is flowing outward through the senses. So we withdraw from the senses. Okay. You withdraw it from the external world, and then you withdraw it from the body. You bring it to the point. The mind still has this momentum. Okay? So this you will basically withdraw the mind from this various sorry, there's some technical error. Okay? So you withdraw. I was mentioning about withdrawing the mind. Okay, so when the mind is being withdrawn, the momentum is still there. Okay, it will remain there, and you cannot leave it as it is. You have to channel the momentum to towards the chitta. Okay, that is one stage, and then from chitta you channel the momentum towards the what you call aham, and then to mahat, and then you transcend the mahat towards the atman. You reach the atman. Okay, so many masters they use this analogy. It's like if you pour oil without any break, okay, that is dhyan. Okay, so this word dhyan, when it went to China, it became chan. And then when it went to Japan, it became Zen. Okay, you might have heard about the school of Zen Buddhism. Okay, so the word Zen originated from the word dhyan. All right. So I used this example last week. Dharana. When you studied about, when we discuss about the concept of dharana. Dharana means if you can have this, according to Swami Sivananda, he used this example. He said, if you can have, if you can concentrate on something for 8 seconds without a break, that is one dharana. And if you multiply that 8 to another 8 times, it becomes 64 seconds. So unbroken concentration for 64 seconds. That is one dhyan. And if you multiply that by another 8 times without a break, that it comes to about 20 minutes. And that is, you reach the stage of samadhi. Okay, so the next to this is samadhi. Oh, wait, before I go to samadhi, so let me elaborate further on dhyana. So in the school of Ananda Marga, okay, why I mentioned in the school of Ananda Marga, because there are many methods of dhyana. Okay, so in the school of Ananda Marga, so we have 2 steps actually. One is known as pranidhana, another one is anudhyana. Okay. And these both are collectively known as abhidhyana. Okay, so in pranidhana, you bring, because your mind has this tendency to express itself outwardly through the senses, through motor organ and also through your sensory organs. Okay, so and there are basic 50 vritti, which becomes 1000. So constantly you'll be busy in expressing this what you call vrittis, and as a result, you'll be constantly, the mind is constantly active. Okay, so in pranidhana, so that's why this step is given. So you have to repeatedly practice this, okay, to gain control of your mind, okay, over your mind, and channel it to the higher consciousness, the higher state. And this process is known as pranidhana. Okay, the beginners here, so the practitioners of Ananda Marga here, they know this technique, and the beginners here. So the method which I shared with you for the beginner. So that is basically something like a trailer for you to understand the concept of pranidhana, Ishvara pranidhana. Okay, so Ishvara, so the full name is Ishvara pranidhana. Means you withdraw and channel it. Okay, and then this pranidhana is done with the assistance of mantra. Okay, so that process is also known as Javat-kriya. Then what is Anudhyana? So the practice of pranidhana is it brings you up to this level, to the Agya Chakra. Okay, and the practice of Anudhyana is to go beyond this, okay, to reach your consciousness or Atman. And here you reach the level of cosmic consciousness. So, so Anudhyana, you cannot master Anudhyana before you master the practice of Ishvara Pranidhana. So Anudhyana is done through Dhyana Kriya. So in the school of Ananda Marga, we have a method for that. And there are also higher methods for those who take up the practice of Vishesh or Laya Yoga. Okay. And if you take this Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, they have 112 methods of meditation. Okay. So any method can bring you. So any method taught by a particular master, so it will take you to the, to your goal. Okay. So what is important that any method that you learn, you have to understand it properly and practice it properly. Okay. Next. So samadhi. So dhyana eventually should lead you to samadhi. So due to the continuous, so the first step, okay, due to the continuous flow of mind towards its goal in meditation, unit mind will be suspended in the cosmic mind, and this is known as Savikalpa Samadhi or merger in the cosmic mind. Okay, so to reach this state of Savikalpa Samadhi, you have to go through another 4 stages. Okay, these stages are known as Salokya, Samipya, Sayujya, Sarupya, and Sarasti. Sarasti is Savikalpa Samadhi, complete Savikalpa Samadhi. This is the first stage. And then, when the unit consciousness loses itself in the process of dhyana, it will result in nirvikalpa samadhi, or merger in the cosmic or universal. I mean, when you merge with your own Atman, you merge with the Paramatma. Okay? So you don't have to worry, now you're only seeing the concept. Okay? But as I mentioned earlier, it's a beginner or even someone who's an adult. The first 12 years, 20 years, they'll be struggling with the 5 stages of this 5 limbs, by yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and pratyahara. That is the fact. Okay? Unless you're already very evolved, you naturally will go to the last 3. Okay. So today, next we will focus on the niyama sadhana. So the last what do you call 2 class, we focused on the last 2 class we focused on this 2 aspect of this niyama. So today we'll finish the next. Okay, last week we covered Saucha and Santosha. So this week we will see what is Tapa, Swadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhana. So what is tapa? So tapa means, you might have, some of you might be familiar with it. People say, a yogi is doing tapa, performing tapa. So tapa means to undergo physical hardship to attain the objective, okay, or to attain the goal. So some people do tapa in the form of fasting. Okay? Serving the guru is also a form of tapa. Serving father and mother, serving others. Okay, so all these are tapa. For a student, tapa, your studying is the main tapa. Okay? So of course, in the path of sadhana, to realize yourself, you have to undergo a lot of struggle. Okay, it's not that simple. Okay? If you study these some autobiographies or biographies of great yogis, okay, you will see what sort of tapa they went through. Okay, so definitely in the practice of niyama, so this is one of the qualities of practice that you have to do. Tapa. Okay, to be a tapasvi. Next is swadhyaya. Okay, this word is formed from two words. Swa means self, dhyaya means study. So it's from the same root of meditation, dhyan. Okay, swadhyaya means to study with proper understanding of scriptures and philosophical books. Okay, last week when we looked at when the Guru mentioned about the three important things sadhaka should understand and follow, or should accept. That is the existence of Jivatma, existence of Paramatma, and Veda. Okay, so I mentioned there that any form of knowledge, any form of Paravidya which came from a Guru, is actually a Veda. Okay, so this is important because you have to stay inspired. Okay, because we struggle constantly in life with many things, and we will lose our inspiration. Okay? If you study constantly, you have to do study every day. So this will keep you inspired. Good books like Upanishad, Yoga Sutra, Shiva Sutra, Upanishads, okay, Yoga Vasistha. All these books can be studied on the regular basis. Okay? This is very important. And this is not, and there's a method of studying. In the Shastra, they say Sravana, Manana, Niditya. It's like you have to reflect whatever you study. You have to reflect in your mind. You have to meditate on it. Okay. So we will cover all that in the future, the post Astaunga Yoga course. Okay. The next is the part of niyama is Ishvara Pranidhan, which is, as I explained earlier in the topic of Dhyan. Okay, so Ishvara Pranidhan is the first step of sadhana in our school. Okay, Ishvara means the controller, the controlling entity. Okay. It's one attributional aspect of the Supreme Being. So Ishvara is a controller, it's the controller of you, the control of the universe. Okay, so in this process, you become attuned with Ishvara. Okay, and a yogi must understand this concept. Okay? You cannot be an atheist. You cannot say that I am an independent, because when you study yoga, so you must understand your connection with the universe. So basically, yoga means it's about being integrated with everything, okay? Beginning from yourself. Because most of us are not even integrated within ourselves. So the body is going in one direction, your mind going in another direction. Okay? You think one thing and you do another thing. Okay? So integration, that's also a yoga. It means where whatever you speak, whatever you think, okay? And whatever you do, it's all the same. Okay? That is yoga in action. Okay. So again, I will only concentrate on the symbol. So niyama means internal, so to maintain balance within ourselves. Okay. All other in each, whether yama or niyama, okay, you will have one main item in there. For example, in yama, brahmacharya is the main. So to attain the state of brahmacharya, or to maintain the awareness of Brahma while dealing with the world, So you need the support of Satya, Steya, Ahimsa, and Aparigraha. In the practice of Niyama, your main goal is Ishvara Pranidhana. And so you need Saucha, Santosha, Tapa, and Swadhyaya to maintain that balance. Okay, with that, I've finished the topic. Okay, so now we shall go into the summary of this course. Actually, this is not the 6th class, this is the 7th class. If you include the introduction, okay, this is the 7th class. So yoga is the path, the journey, and the goal. And Astaunga yoga is an effective and proven method to attain the goal of yoga. Okay, so the 8 limbs: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, sama. And the first 5 limbs of yoga: okay, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Sorry, there's a typo there. It's supposed to be pratyahara, are external in nature and known as bahiranga yoga or externally. The last three limbs, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, are internal and is known as antaranga yoga. So you have to master the bahiranga yoga before you move to antaranga. Okay, and a yoga sadhaka or yodi must be a theist. A theist or an astika is a person who acknowledges the reality of Jivatma, Paramatma, and the Vedas. It means you take as much time as possible to understand this concept before you take up the practice of yoga. Okay? Whatever you do, you must understand it properly. Okay? So in the yogic path, we don't encourage you to have blind faith, because this is not what you call a form of indoctrination. In yoga, we don't indoctrinate people. In fact, you have to break all form of indoctrination which was there earlier. Okay, and the Jivatman is separate from Paramatma because of its individual consciousness and samskara. Means you are stuck with your individuality. Okay, when you are stuck with your own individuality, you're very conscious about yourself. You'll be selfish, and you will separate yourself from the rest of the world. Okay, and you'll make mistakes, and you will incur new samskara. Okay, and the pattern will continue. So if you minus your samskara, first the burden becomes lesser and lesser, and you will be more conscious of your true self, and eventually you will transcend the self and become one with Dharma. So samskara can be exhausted quickly through karma yoga and sadhana. Okay, you cannot perform sadhana only. So when you are naturally performing karma, so you have to be more, have to perform your action, your karma more efficiently, then that is karma yoga. And you should do this karma yoga under the guidance of a guru for it to be effective. As I mentioned in last 2 classes, for example, you lift a rock and put it in another place. It's considered one action. If you do it on your own, it's your own karma. So you become a new karma and you'll have a reaction. If a master asks you to lift a rock and put in another place, okay, he can allow you to express your existing samskara and finish it off. Okay? That's the difference. So there are many techniques of yoga and tradition of yoga, but the progress of sadhaka happens due to the grace of God, which is expressed through the medium of a realized guru. Okay, please understand this. And diksha or initiation is an important aspect in the process of yoga. To begin the journey of yoga, you should be initiated formally in a particular path. Just like if you want to get a degree, you have to enroll in university, right? Even if you do a distant, out-campus program, you still have to register. So you cannot just read some materials and then go to the university and say, look, I have read all these subjects, all the books related to the subject. Now you should grant me a degree. It doesn't happen that way. Okay. In fact, yoga is something higher than that. So conclusion. So the Astaunga Yoga course is intended to give an overview to potential sadhakas about yoga. In reality, practice is very essential in the journey of yoga. And yoga begins with discipleship. According to Paramahamsa Satyananda, begins with discipleship. Means you have to accept someone as a teacher. Okay, and you don't become a disciple right away. You begin by becoming a follower. Okay, and try to become a better follower, and you can say someone who's a very good follower eventually become a disciple. Well, the whole yoga is a part of self-culture. Means you are involved. You have to be involved in it. It's not like you plug yourself into a system, like following a religion, a belief system, and then because you follow that belief system, that everything will come to you. No. So you have to participate in it. And talking about real yoga is the ultimate purpose is self-realization. But in the modern day, this practice of yoga, the masters, they brought the practice of yoga to the masses. Okay? And everyone are getting easy access to it. And yoga is good for you in many ways. So you can practice yoga for peace of mind. I mean, you can take up some simple practices for relaxation, okay, to stay healthy, for self-improvement. Some people want to do self-improvement, and of course, self-realization. I mean, what I'm trying to say is you can start small, slowly try to become more committed. Study it, So it's something very good. Okay, means try to understand. I mean, just spend some time. You're doing a lot of things, a lot of hobbies and all that. But this is more than a hobby. Okay, I mean, some people understand the importance. Some people maybe you are here out of curiosity. So this is actually something very significant. Actually. Okay. So again, this is the message of the master. He said, through Astaunga yoga sadhakas, conscious of their bodies and selves can gradually awaken their dormant mental powers, and with the help of developed mind, they can eventually establish themselves in sati or spiritual selfhood. Okay. Now, way forward. So we have finished this course. Okay. So I would like to encourage the student to pursue the path of yoga by joining any legitimate school. I mean, there are many schools. Okay. There are Vihar School of Yoga, Ananda Marga is there, the School of Swami Rama, School of Kriya Yoga. Okay. You can just join any of these schools, okay, just for your convenience. And Ananda Marga is actually a school of yoga based on Tantra. And we offer initiation to the path of yoga to any interested student. Whoever who's interested, you can apply to learn. And I've mentioned this earlier. So there are 4 types of course. Prarambhik yoga. Okay, so you have 2 lessons here, and you don't have to spend much time. Okay. If you want to become more committed, you take up Sadharana yoga. Here they offer 5 lessons. Okay. If you want to become more committed, more serious to the path, that is Sahaj yoga. Okay. This path has 7 lessons. Vishesh yoga, this is only going to be offered to anybody. You have to become an adept in Sahaj yoga before they offer you Vishesh yoga. All right. So you see, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you to be committed and congratulate yourself for being able to complete this course. For some of you, there are some dropouts as well. And and also like to thank the admin team, okay, Brother Chandrasekhar from Ananda Marga Yoga Society, okay, so Brother Jyoti Narayan, then Brother Pathmanathan. So these 3 people, they have actually they have worked very hard, tirelessly to ensure the success of this program. Okay, so now we shall discuss about the way forward. So before I discuss about the way forward, I'd like to open for discussion about Q&A before I discuss about the future of this group. Okay, so I'd like to open for discussion. Question. Anyone? So interesting, in the last class, nobody had any questions. So.
Namaskar, brother Padma. I just have one question. Good Akasha.
Maybe just give me a second. The question, right. I mean, the sound is not so clear. Let me increase the volume. Okay, please.
Okay, I just would like to find out more about Kala. You mentioned that.
Okay, so who's? Can you identify yourself? Who's speaking here? Hello.
Hello. Good Akasha.
Oh, brother Good Akasha. Sorry. Okay, the Kala is actually. Even our Guru mentioned this in some of his books. So Kala, there are 16 Kala. So this is, it's like the way they measure the consciousness. So from inanimate, animate beings, and from so living beings, they are categorized as Jiva Koti, Ishvara Koti, and Brahma Koti. So Jiva Kotis, plants, animals, and normal human beings, they are Jiva Kotis. Okay. And in plants, the plants, they have two Kala. Inanimate things like wood, and rock, they have one Kala. Animals, they have 3 and 4. Normal human being, they have 5. And some developed human beings, they have 6. Saints, they have 7 to 8. And maybe the saints, they can be known as Kalavatar. And someone who have more Kala beyond 8, they can, they are Ishvara Koti, they might be known as Amshavadar. And when they have more than certain degrees, I'm still finding what is the exact cutoff Kala, okay, from one stage to another. But when they have total 16, they are known as Purna Avatar or Brahma Koti. Okay, and this is Sadguru. And anyone who have lesser than that, 16, 15, 14, so they are Khanda Avatar, partial. Okay, so in the Shastras, they explain various type of powers or ability. So they say Lord Krishna was a Brahma Koti in the past, who possess all the 16 Kalas, and he has all these 3 levels of powers. Kartum, Akartum, Anyata Kartum. So Kartum means to perform things which is impossible to perform. For example, in Mahabharata, you will see some stories where Lord Krishna, he will stop. He could hide the sun for some time. Okay, so technically this is Pratamiya Siddhi. Okay, so this comes under the category of Akartum. Okay, so Kartum. So Akartum is ability beyond physical. Okay, that means like granting boon, giving spiritual experience like samadhi and all that. So even in Mahabharata, so Lord Krishna will give experience of Vishwarup Samadhi to Arjuna. So this comes under the realm of Akartum. So Anyata Kartum is beyond human understanding. So they say Lord Krishna, even he's capable of doing that. Okay. So even in our times, I've read in some biographies, there are some saints who can easily bring rain, and give some kind of blessing, which is not possible for ordinary teachers to give. Okay, so these are basically the concept of Kala. Okay, the ability, basically the higher, the more Kala a person possesses, means they are more evolved. They have more Chaitanya. Okay, more expression of Atma. And right now, how we measure someone's spiritual elevation is based on the amount of kala they possess, the amount of chaitanya they have. I mean, how much you harness, how much you could express the force of Atma. So when we are so much caught with the material life, so much guided by samskara, so you are not so much, I mean, you are not guided very much by the Atma. I hope this answers your question.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's,
Welcome.
very clear. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Well, okay, you don't have any question yet, you can think about the question. So as a way forward, I would like to suggest, okay, this group, the Astaunga Yoga course, okay, we can continue beyond this 6 weeks course, or 7-week course. What I would like to propose is that, you see, like whatever we covered in this 7 weeks, okay, just to give you an idea, and I'm sure a lot of concepts here are quite technical and all that. So we can take it slow by discussing some of these topics separately. For example, we can discuss about karma yoga, just one whole day, one session. We can discuss about yama, just all the 5 yamas together in one session. On yama, or the concept of karma sannyasa, or the concept of diksha. All this in the future classes, okay, if all of you agree, and there are significant numbers of the participants from this course who want to remain, okay, want to remain within the group, so I can take it as a satsang group. So we will go by topic. At least we will have a topic fortnightly. So if it is agreeable to everyone, okay, so please respond in the group after this, okay, who's interested and who's interested. I mean, who has no interest, it's up to you. I mean, there is no, how to say, you're not compelled to stay, okay. So as I said, I would given you an overview about yoga. I hope I managed to make you understand something. So what is important is you have to take up, take it further, okay, by formally joining a school. Right. So any more questions? So from today onwards, again, until tomorrow, so you can just indicate in the group, or you can also text me personally if you want to remain and continue. All right. Okay, now any more questions from the participants? We have time. Yeah, we still have another 10 minutes.
Hello, brother. Can you hear me?
Namaskar.
Yes,
Yeah.
Namaskar, brother. It's Velu here.
Yeah.
And I've got a question about the Ishvara Pranidhana.
Pranidhana.
Yes.
Yeah.
And somewhere along your earlier explanation, you also mentioned Lord Krishna gave the Vishwarubam to Karna, I think. Yes. So as I understand, the Pranidhana is actually immersing your cosmic self, your unit self with the ocean of everything, of existence and universal energy. And then there is this Vishwarubam where as I understand it, it's the true form of the energy or being, supreme being. So if I immerse myself, can I actually see, over the course of time, can I actually see everything as the way it is?
Okay. See, in this spiritual path, there are 3 major schools. Okay. The most common school, even common to all religion, is the path of Dvaita, part of dualism, where you see everything separately from you as an individual, the universe, and everyone. Okay, everyone animated. Okay.
Yeah.
And when God. Okay. So it's the very basic form of understanding. So everyone, first you have to be conscious of yourself. Okay. So this is the dualistic part. Everyone will begin from here. Okay. So most teachers, most schools, okay, and naturally also we will see ourselves from this perspective. And then there's another school which is known as Visista Advaita, means qualified monism. So the view of this school is that, or this thought, or this philosophy is, you are part of the whole. Just like ocean, there's wave. So you are the wave. The wave has the quality of the ocean. Okay. The unit has the quality of the Supreme. Jivatma has the quality of Paramatma. But this school maintains that you will remain as Jivatma, but you have the quality. Okay. So this is when you evolve from the dualistic stage to this. And then there was the third school, which says Advaita. Yeah, there's this what they call wave. The wave apparently looks like separate, but it is not. Okay, it is separated because of ignorance. When it drops the ignorance, the wave essentially is the ocean. Okay, so this is the Advaita. And then, of course, you will see the debate. Okay, so the dualistic, no, there's no possibility for Jivatman to become one, even in quality. Okay. They will maintain. Then they say we are always sinful. That's the argument in most religions. You are always sinful, and you always have to beg for mercy. Okay. But those who are more evolved, they don't believe in this. I mean, it's not they don't believe. They realize that no, I have the quality of the Supreme. I have that quality, right? And why the dualists they cannot believe it, because they see a lot of this. What do you call the expression of lower propensities, okay, like anger, what do you call lust, infatuation. They call the 6 enemies. I discussed about this, but 3 or 4 weeks ago. Greediness, that, and you see the Astapasha, okay, fear, pride of culture, pride of ethnic, and then shame, backbiting, vanity, and so on. There are 6 here and 8 there. These are they call these as Astapasha and Shatravi. Just for an example, most people, you are aware that you have all these, and because of that, you tend to condemn yourself. The priest will condemn you. The society will condemn you. Okay. Whereas the spiritual path, they said, yes, you will have that, but it is not you. Okay, it means when you have a physical body, you will have all these tendencies, but you can transcend it, right?
Yes.
So everyone will enter the spiritual path through the door of dualism, okay, through the sadhana. And of course, the debate on this is endless, because if you study the Vedanta will say the whole thing about being ignorant, about suffering, is just a dream, and then in a split of second, you'll be out of the dream. Okay, so there's this, the school of Vedanta says, Brahma, the declaration of Vedanta. Brahma Satyam Jagat Nityam means this world is false. This only exists because of your ignorance, and you can be enlightened at any moment when the Maya disappears. But the school of Tantra disagrees with this. It says Brahma Satyam, or mean the supreme being is absolute, it is accepted. Yes, we agree. But Jagat Nityam, we don't agree. So the school of Tantra said, Jagadabi Satyam Apekshikam means this world. So why in Sanskrit, we call this world as Jagat, because this world is dynamic. Jagat means a world, a dynamic world. It keeps changing, right? A baby will become, a fetus will become a baby, and a baby be a toddler. Okay, he will grow become a young man, and later become an old man, and die, right? There's a changes, constant changes, right? So this is the nature of the dynamic world. So in this dynamic world, so the Guru used the word apekshika satya, or relative truth. So when you are in the world of relative truth, you will suffer. You will be in happiness. You will experience this dualistic experience. You will go through that. Okay, and repeated experience of this eventually will make you think, will make you to find a solution, and as a result of that, you will seek the truth. Okay, and the way of it is to transcend along the way you will transcend, you will understand about your existence. So like the school of yoga here mentioned that you have 5 layers to transcend, to know your true self. Okay.
Yes.
So when you transcend, you will know. Okay. And then you don't have to wait until you attain Nirvikalpa Samadhi. See, like we mentioned about these 2 stages of Samadhi. If you'll come to Vishwarupa Samadhi after that. Okay. So let's understand what is Savikalpa. Savikalpa Samadhi means merging with this Brahma. Okay. You are connected to Brahma through the cosmic mind. Okay. We call it Brahma Mana. So you have your unit mind. So Brahma is the cosmic mind. All of our minds are connected to the mind of Brahma. So in the first stage of sadhana, through this practice of pranidhana, you will try to connect to him through you're connecting towards this cosmic mind.
Okay.
Right? So that means like you have your first lesson of Ishvara Pranidhan. The culminating point of your first lesson of your Ishvara Pranidhan is Savikalpa Samadhi. But this Savikalpa Samadhi itself, it has 5 stages. Okay? So as you progress in your sadhana, first you will get the feeling of Salukya. You will feel that you are closer with this Supreme Being. You feel that you are somehow connected to him. You will get that feeling. I mean, you are in Salukya. Means if you have confidence in facing the challenges in your life and you feel that you are always connected, that he's watching your back. When you get that feeling, not as a faith. Okay, it's a firm conviction. It will be a firm conviction. You know? When you realize that it is a realization. Okay, that is Salukya. Then Salukya, you will move to Samipya. There is more proximity through Samipya. Then from Samipya, you go to Sayujya. Sayujya is like merging with the consciousness. I mean, you experience more of this consciousness in you. Okay. And in the state of Sarupya, you will see this consciousness of Supreme Being around you all the time.
Okay.
And then when you transcend Sarupya, so that is Savikalpa Samadhi, where you become one. For that one moment, you become the master of universe. So this is the experience which Yogananda experienced when Yukteswar gave him the experience of Samadhi. If you read his autobiography of Yogi, so that is the experience that he went through.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
Then Nirvikalpa Samadhi is transcending the mind.
No.
It's another state. Okay?
Yes.
Merging with the consciousness. And what is Vishwarup Darshan? Okay, Vishwarup Darshan is a form of Samadhi. And of course, you get confused when you read the Bhagavad Gita because you're given illustration that Krishna's Vishwarup, the universal form, is like someone who's so huge with so many heads, various type of. So it is just an idea, an illustration by the artist. Okay, what Krishna gave to Arjuna will be known to Krishna and Arjuna only, isn't it?
Yes.
How a third party can draw that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So from what little understanding that I have, speaking to some yogis, see they said it is an experience of samadhi, a different type of samadhi where you can experience the divine being in every particle of this universe, starting from your own body. Okay? That much I can tell from based on what they shared with me. Okay? So it's an experience of samadhi, which is not explained in the standard text of yoga, like Yoga Sutra and all that. I never came across any standard text so far. It is only in Bhagavad Gita. So even in Bhagavad Gita, most commentators could not mention what it is.
I see.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
Okay. All right. Okay, I think we can come to the end of the session. So as I mentioned earlier, with regard to the way forward, so please express your intention. So if you wish to continue, because the numbers count, because if not many people are interested, then there's no point in maintaining this group. So you can just leave the message in the group, or you can text me personally that you are interested to continue. You have to continue this as a satsang, group. Okay. So as I mentioned, I'll try to maintain at least 2 topics, to give 2 topics in a month. Okay, we can, I mean, at least I'll maintain that frequency. Okay, so and I also like to seek your cooperation. Okay, you have been very good, very committed, most of you. So maintain the same commitment. Okay, I mean, be punctual and of course do not miss the class unnecessarily. Okay, but of course now it's open, so it means like maybe that particular week you may not be able, doesn't matter, but that means if you remain in the group you have to be active. All right, so if there's no further questions, I'd like to thank all of you, okay, for your participation in this program, and I'd like to congratulate you, okay, for completing this program. Okay, and then I'd like to apologize if I've if I've hurt anyone's sentiment, knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, thank you very much. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Padma.